All right, so next video that I have for you guys is the relationship between 0-20 and mechanical engine failure. So if you're new to the channel, my name's Anthony, and we're in my shop. Caleb's over here, he's just shaking his head. Yes, we are. It's Monday, it's the day after the holiday. Caleb probably got drunk like...
It's Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Caleb probably drank like 10 kegs of beer last night and showed up for work on time. No? Almost?
I was drinking last night, but I kept it tame because I knew I had to be here.
I was gardening and playing with my solar panels, and I was here for a couple hours. Anyway, 0-20, right? So I want to just show you something. So what year truck is this, Caleb? 2007?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
2007 Chevy Silverado.
6.0, non-DOD, non-GDI.
This is
Do you see the engine oil?
probably the
520. And that's even if that's the right cap. I would bet you it's probably...
Doesn't that say 530?
Does it? 530? Let me zoom in. 530, right? So what does this engine not have? No engine
generally
ticking.
don't have...
No engine ticking.
Yeah, there's no engine ticking. They generally don't have oil consumption unless there's just
Dogged.
a complete disregard for maintenance.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you this, if this engine had 0-20 in it, and a 2500, and the trim that this vehicle is, and even though an older guy had it, that this would have some type of valve train failure, besides oil consumption.
Well, exactly. These don't have lifter failure for the most part.
I have seen trunnion failure, but why do we have trunnion failure? Because customers are not putting the right oil and overextending it. And if they put the right oil in it, there would be no trunnion failure in this LS series engine. None.
What motor is this? 5.3?
6.0. 6.0. This is about 0-20, right? So GM and all these manufacturers went to 0-20 to pick up maybe 1 mile per gallon. Maybe. And what do we get in return? Engine failure, engine failure, engine failure, engine failure. Time and chain failure, VVT rattles.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't snapping cranks or camshafts or anything like the
only time you see an LS60 send a rod through the side of it
It's 'cause of that
is because it's under
fucking
boost.
Yeah.
or someone
just
ran it out of oil.
Hand the camera over to that.
Yeah, over there, okay. The only time you see a 6.0 send a rod out of it is when it's near tipping 1500
Well,
horsepower.
in the Weenie 500, the one Weenie Mobile sent a 6.0 to heaven.
You're getting offset. You're getting off subject here.
I'm telling you.
0-20 is the conversation. How many, and we're just going to pick manufacturers here, how many Toyotas have time and chain noise or valve train noise, that unadjustable valve train? 0-20 is kind of the difference, right? The gasoline really hasn't changed. People's behaviors have changed, and the oil has changed a lot. So here we are staring at an 07 vehicle, original engine.
And neither for the better.
Right, barely maintained by us here, and this engine's quiet, it's not ticking, it's not rattling. We don't know if it has oil consumption. My point is, it doesn't say 0-20 on the oil cap. Okay? And this doesn't have trunnion failure. You know, anything that comes from mechanical failure, right? And AMSOIL actually years ago did some videos about Superbike. So a while ago, Superbike was having problems with crank bearings, and it was on their V-twin motor. And they were like, all right, they're putting it back on the engine builder and this, that, and the other thing. And I don't know if this is true or not. And I think the content from AMSOIL was true, is that AMSOIL tested that engine with a different oil in it, and they didn't have no more bottom end problems. They didn't change anything in the motor other than the oil. Make sense? Like they said, oh, we're gonna put 0-20 in this V-twin, Superbike engine, and they kept tearing the bottom ends up. So then AMSOIL got involved and tested the bike and said, nah, dude, you guys are using the wrong oil. That's what I'm saying about the world. 0-20 is the wrong oil based on its environment it's used in. 0-20 is not a general oil for everybody, although they think it is. And Ford Bearded Mechanic, or Bearded Ford Mechanic, you know who he is? He's another popular YouTuber. Yesterday, he came out, was talking about his diesel engines. They use AMSOIL. I'm not promoting AMSOIL. He's just saying, we use this in our diesel trucks and we don't have any issues. And he's specifically saying the ones that have problems. Fleet Mechanic he is. They have the Tahoes with DODs and all that.
The 6.2s.
6.2s with the fuel management systems and active fuel management. And he said we had one that the lifters grenaded in. They fixed that engine and ran 530 in the rest of their engines, and they don't have any more issues. No 020 in their fleet vehicles. None. And I think I asked him this about another video he was on. It's like, what are you advising for gasoline vehicles instead of diesels? And he busted out a video and kind of fell right into line with what I've been saying all these years. Is when I think about what changes, right, and what the environment is, something has to change either in one direction or the other, and it's 020. And now you have 08 and next you're going to have 00.
You gotta put apple juice in there.
Right. You know, and then it's going to burn oil, and then, you know, it's going to have wear metals throughout the engine, and the engine's going to be junk because it can't make warranty. Now, there's some guys out here that have 020 in their cars, and they change it between 3,000 and 5,000 miles with zero issues. That's because you're not taking the oil past its limits. All the Chryslers that have lifter ticks, it's all coming out of the same assembly line. The difference is the customer is not changing the oil properly.
That's why
It
it's all
wears the
mechanical.
roller out. The roller can't do its job anymore, and then it starts on the framework of the roller starts grinding into the camshaft. We don't really see too much of that here because we really try and advise everyone to change their oil every 3,000 miles.
I mean,
Yes, you're in the shop more, but it's more protection.
my dad bought his truck with 1,500 miles on it. And it's at 160 plus right now. He's been like 5,000 mile interchange, like oil changes.
And the Ram?
Yeah, and it hasn't done anything.
How many Rams? I can't tell you how many Rams I've heard rattling that come in here. Not our customers, just people. I need an oil change or I need exhaust or something like that. And you know, if I look at their car, it needs tons of work. Most of the time that if I hear an engine that's rattling around, typically we find lots of other needed repairs. Yeah. The air filter, the cabin air filter, you know, this, that, and the other thing. So it's the customer not maintaining the car. But if the customer was advised to use better oil, it would be less one mechanical failure that they would have to deal with in a timely manner of changing oil. So, Bearded Ford Mechanic, if I got it wrong, thanks, dude. I'm glad you guys are stepping up. It just adds continuity to the industry for me when I'm trying to put out good, solid content for people. And then some people are saying, well, I can't go to a Quick Lube, right? So what do you have for Quick Lubes? Jiffy Lube, Mavis,
Take
Monkey
5.
Lube, Take 5, all these other guys. And they won't put anything more than what's the car calls for.
Mm-hmm.
So ask them to pull up the weather chart for the area that you use the car, and there's going to be
Discrepancies.
well, there's going to be variations of the oil that you can use. So if they don't have a clue, do you really want that guy changing your oil? Like legit, hey sir, what options do I have at the Quick Lube here? I know that I'm hearing 020 is not good. I mean, GM just went to 040, and I'm going to tell you 040 is probably not even good enough for that class of engine. I'm saying that engine needs a 1540 for the abuse that the customers are putting it under.
Well, yeah, because it's anybody with those motors is soccer mom.
Absolutely,
Like
you're talking
that.
near what,
They
500 horsepower?
Start the car and slam
And
it in
yeah,
gear and
yeah.
fly down the highway.
So if you go to a Quick Lube and you say, hey, what other oils does my vehicle take? Well, you can look in your owner's manual and you may be able to find the chart. If not, just Google it on your phone or ask the professional, right? You're at a Quick Lube. They should be the lube specialist. And ask them, okay, I know, what other oils can I use besides Valvoline, Mobil, whatever you have in stock here, Getty, Walmart, it doesn't matter. What chart? I'm trying to have better engine protection. I don't really care about gas mileage. Gas mileage means peanuts to me versus what engines cost to replace.
Yeah.
So if your lube guy can't answer it, pack your wallet up and come down to a shop like us. And if you don't say, hey, is there a better option for my oil? Of course, I'm just going to go with OEM recommendations. But if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. No different than your doctor, right? If you don't ask your doctor, like, hey, I got this little rash behind my ear. If you don't tell him, he's not looking behind your ear for a little rash to do something for you. I don't really feel that too many people today are concerned with miles per gallon. I really don't. And if they were, they wouldn't be driving $700, $800 a month car payments. You'd find a cheaper car to drive around. That's just how I feel.
Well, what are you gonna do? Not get gas?
Well, I'm saying buy a more fuel efficient
No,
car.
I know, but what are you gonna do? Not get gas?
Well, that's true too. And say I'm going to just go buy an EV. They're not cheap. They're expensive. They're not cheap. The cost of having an EV vehicle and the maintenance and the charging far exceeds a gasoline powered vehicle in certain environments. Huh?
You just did another video on that.
Yeah.
Why you made the switch.
Yep. Why'd I switch? Because it's half the cost for my Kia, and I get more miles to gasoline than I did for battery, hands
Less
down.
headache.
And half the cost.
And you can come to a shop like this, or any shop around.
You
and
can
get
come to
parts
the.
for it.
You can, yes. So.
You can't. Teslas, you have to go to Tesla.
Yeah.
You like it's.
For the most part.
for the
And
most
I would
part.
tell you, most mechanic shops that have seasoned guys who know what's going on, and if you actually ask them, well, what do you use in your car? They're not using what OEM recommends. I would say very minimal, if any, are saying, well, I use, Ford's OW20 right out of the bottle. I don't think so. Not unless it was free or they're stealing it. I don't even use any of the right oils for any of my cars. None. If it's a 020, it gets 530 synthetic blend right out of our tank and it goes in my brand new cars with zero issues.
I mean the Jeep. I've used our pump shit the entire time. I've never had any issues. Changed my oil every 3,000
On
miles.
everything that I had that was NA, it got our 530 semi.
And I would say, someone said, is there a difference in buying oils? Absolutely. Every oil has a little bit of a difference based on its standards.
It depends what your application is too.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, can you go buy Walmart's cheapest oil and have success? Absolutely. If you don't push it past its limits. No doubt.
I mean, I'm gonna run VR1 and all my stuff.
And use the cheapest oil, cheapest cost. Not that it doesn't have the best additives, but if you push it past its limits, it's going to give you some negative results.
We've used the Harbor Freight oil and stuff. I mean, I used it in the Walmart. Thing,
Yeah.
super cheap.
I've used Super Tech in certain things over the years. I never had any issues with it. But as my money changed, I would rather have more of a name brand. Sometimes a name brand doesn't always mean you're getting the best, but Mobil One isn't putting the garbage in. Valvoline's not putting garbage in, and there's many other.
I've watched countless videos on Valvoline, that Restore and Protect,
Yeah.
VR1.
Yeah.
VR1.
The
is
oils have
one of the
changed.
Best racing oil.
They've pulled back the mollies, they pulled back the zincs, and they never really fixed those additives. Right? Okay, well, we'll remove these out, right? And then what do we get? We get more engine damage. Well, if they start adding it back and come up with a different way that the emission system can handle those, right? Instead of putting it on the consumer both ways. You're putting it on the consumer both ways, with engine failure and cat failure still. You don't see any cars that can make it past 100,000 miles on average because of the lack of maintenance for a cat. I don't know why we're not doing any cat business here, but I mean, we're the cat kings and we ain't got no cats.
No, we do. They're just straight.
Yeah, they're out back. So my thing is the O's or the no's. Thanks for watching.